Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. We're getting close to the halfway-ish mark on what I have planned for this course. I know it's a lot. I don't necessarily recommend that if you're just feeling like, oh my God, and your mind is just completely melted by this point, if you need to take a break, that's pretty normal, man. I mean, there's been so many times during all this discovery process where I was just like so fucking like, oh my God, like coming out of the Matrix, and it's just so intense. Sometimes, dude, you just gotta like chill, maybe have a beer, maybe have a pizza, chill for a few days, chill for a week. I had to do it a million times throughout all of this. So, if you have to do that, I don't necessarily recommend that if you're feeling like your mind is just completely melting off of your body. The choice is yours, but I mean, taking a chill for a minute, taking a few days off. I'm trying to condense, many, what would be considered many years. So I've only been studying all this stuff and going down these rabbit holes for about 8 months. But prior to learning about all this, I had already learned a lot about the Rothschilds and the bloodlines and again, not so much the conspiracy theories. I'm not a big fan of those, but conspiracy fact. I find a lot of interest in a lot of that kind of stuff and research and reading books and watching a lot of documentaries and stuff like that. So I find it all very fascinating, and I have been sort of studying a lot of things for a very long time, and then also as a Scientologist, we are trained, generally speaking, not all of us, but a lot of people involved in the religion, we're trained in what's called a study technology, right? And in the study technology, we learn how to clear the definitions of words and trace down derivations of words. And when we're reading, there's certain things that kind of happen to you and you start feeling a certain way. And then you can kind of like locate words that you didn't understand that you were just reading. There's a whole training that we do called Student Hat, which is this like monstrous like 4 weeks at 40 hours a week course that's offered at the church on how to study. So I think, a lot of people are would think to themselves like, damn, Brandon, you've only been studying this shit for 8 months. Like, how are you so advanced? There's two reasons for it. The first reason is because I'm trained to the bone when it comes to this, how to study. And I have this special technology under my belt that's very, very powerful, and I've cleared up. I mean, God, I think I started in Scientology maybe in like 2006, and since that time I've cleared up. Oh my God, I mean, it's got to be hundreds of thousands of words and phrases. So, and I've also obviously written 2 books over here. You can see it on the left-hand side of the video. So my command of the English language and words in general is pretty good. So I came into this studying this super hot, super heavy, spent a lot of money, I hired James C. Lovett. I hired another guy, a buddy of mine named John. I was talking to James Hauser, or Chris Hauser, personally, one-on-one. Not a lot, a little bit before he blew up and became super big. And then after that, I couldn't get a hold of him anymore. So, I've sent a couple of emails back and forth to Anna von Reitz. I have friends in the California Assembly. I just completely immersed myself in this. And also in the past 10 years or so, there's been a lot of material released on this. There's a lot more material available. I think before maybe 2006 or 2009 or maybe even 2012, there really wasn't a whole lot of material available on this. You had to really, really dig. So when you find guys that have been doing this for 30 or 40 years, like your Anna von Reitz and your David Straight and your all this and all that, it's like these people are the pioneers. These people are the ones who really dug all this up. So I don't want anybody to think that, Brandon, he's some kind of astronomical, above human intelligence or whatever. Really, all I feel like I'm doing with this course is organizing the information in a sequential way so that anyone can understand it regardless of anything, and making it fun to learn. Like, in my mind, that's all I'm doing. I didn't figure all this out. I figured out some of it. But really, I think the area where I shine and the area where I can be of value is I really understand the trust of me as the trustee and you as the beneficiary. That's the most important part. And then the second part is I can see and I can picture myself, because I'm a professional marketing salesperson. I can kind of put myself in the position of the watcher, someone who's right off the street, and I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like these videos and the way that I'm doing them sequentially, it allows a person to go from the ground floor and then go up the elevator without falling off the elevator. Hopefully, I hope. So, and it's fun and it's engaging, and I'm fucking crazy and wild and all this. So it's I think that's kind of where I shine. So you might be thinking at this point, I mean, if you're this far in the course, you're probably pretty intelligent individual. But if you think that I'm some kind of a fucking genius, something like that, no, I really don't think that's the case. I think I've consumed a lot of information from a lot of different people. I don't recommend just studying one person. You should be watching all of the Christopher Hauser videos. You should be reading all of the books by Anna von Reitz. I think she's only got 2 or 3. You should be reading all of the books that are so-called written by David E. Robinson. You should be reading Miracle on Main Street from F. Tupper Saucy. You should be watching all of the videos from David Straight. You should be downloading and purchasing everything from James C. Levitt, watching all of his videos on YouTube after completing this course. So you can go, you can go as far as you want with all of this, and you can continue your studies, and you can kind of branch off from here. But the whole point of this course is to be engaging and sequential. And I think that's those two things are the main things missing from learning and understanding all of this information. Is it's either not the easiest thing to read, or frankly, every single person that's out there, they use a lot of legal terminology to explain other legal terminology, and they just kind of get, to really bring this whole thing down to the ground floor. I think that's really where I shine, and I think that's really where the value that I can bring to the table on this whole thing. So I just want to be clear. If anybody, if you ever hear anybody talking shit, saying, "Oh, Brandon is better than or less than, any of these people," or Anna von Reitz is this compared to David Straight, and Christopher Hauser is this and this compared to this, and it's just like, I mentioned it before, but I'm gonna mention it again. It's just really sad. I mean, Anna von Reitz, I've heard some pretty strange things that she's done. She gets very, very upset when she doesn't get what she wants, but I think ultimately what she wants is something good. So, we all have our flaws. We all have our pros and cons. Everyone's going to connect with people differently. So I don't recommend any one person more or less than anybody else. My personal strong recommendation is, as I've already recommended before, there's just two recommendations that I have for every single person watching these videos. Recommendation number 1, never, ever, ever assume the definitions of words, phrases, or terms. Ever. And if you don't know what the definition of word is, look that up. If you don't know what the definition of phrase is, look up what the definition of phrase is. If you don't know what the definition of term is, term, if you might think like, oh, I know this stuff. What do you think I am, a retard? When I looked up the word term in the dictionary, I was surprised. The word term, let's see here. Sometimes you got to look in multiple dictionaries, and you look in multiple dictionaries, and then you just kind of, women are probably going to be better at what I'm about ready to say than men, but you just kind of get that feeling. Oh yeah, this is, there's that clarity or that emotional feeling that comes from locating the definition that, you might need to search for a while, but it's like you're searching for that feeling or that certainty in your own world. If you're like, or you're not too sure, don't accept it, Again, definitions there's a million different ones. They create new ones all the time. They're trying to create new ones all the time. Black's Law is always changing the definitions. When you write a conditional acceptance, you can write literally whatever definition you want for any word. It's more open than you think. It's not just like you look at one. The breakdown of the idea of defining a word is searching for and locating a meaning that is within the confines and boundaries, because defining something, the definition of the word define means to create a boundary for, or if you study the derivation of the word, it means to create a boundary for, or to a limiting sector, right? If what they're doing with the term man and women, they're trying to eliminate the boundaries of what those words mean, so that men mean everything and that women mean everything, right? The problem is that the actual word definition, or the idea of defining something, the action of defining something means to take it and you say, I don't know where the boundaries of this word is. And a word is essentially a series of symbols, right? So you have a series of symbols, and it just like boom, it could mean anything. It's limitless, and by the action of defining the word, you're bringing the limits down, and you're saying this series of symbols has this meaning. But the thing is that you're kind of sort of deciding where those limitations are for yourself. So when you look at a bunch of different definitions and, none of them really click for you, and you're like, you're just kind of not feeling it, you got to keep looking and keep looking and keep looking. And that's where Black's Law becomes really fascinating, because Black's Law contains all sorts of definitions that you've never seen or heard from any other dictionary anywhere. And there's other law dictionaries too. There's one called, we're going to get back to this definition. There's one called Bovier's Law Dictionary. I forget how you... Bovier's Law Dictionary. I don't use this law dictionary, but this is a very big one. And it looks like right here, I believe I actually found this before. So this is actually Bovier's Dictionary, revised 6th edition from 1856. This is a full online version for free of that entire dictionary. So let's say I wanted to go into Bovier's, and I wanted to go down to jurisdiction, which is one of our favorite words now. Here's jurisdiction. So it's got some of the same definitions as Black's Law, which is good. Black's Law is pretty much the standard. And in my opinion, in the opinion of Christopher Hauser as well, because my opinion basically comes from him on this, is the 4th and the 5th edition of Black's Law is the best ones to get your hands on. They can be very expensive, so finding digital copies, someone like me or someone else can give you digital copies of Black's Law 4th and 5th editions. it shouldn't be terribly hard to find on the internet. Black's Law 4th edition. 4th edition is the one that I pretty much always use. Black's Law 4th edition. PDF is what I typed in here, right? And the first thing that popped up, it looks like it's the entire dictionary. Black's Law 4th edition. Beautiful. Wow, look at this. This is a beautiful version of it. Look how clear it is. Oh. Bless the people who do these things. Bless their soul. So you want to get this bad boy. Now what I would do is I would take this thing and I would download it onto your phone. It's a pretty big file. But still, I would anyways. And put it on everything. Put it on your phone. Put it on your laptop. Put it on your desktop computer. Put it on your tablet. Put it everywhere. You want access to this thing everywhere, and then you want to put it on your I'm talking about the Black's Law 4th edition, and you want to give it away, man. You want to give it away to every single person you possibly can. And it's such a big file, it can be hard to give away. So what you can do is you can put it in like Google Drive, and then you can just share it. You can create a sharing link and just share the hell out of it. Send it to all your friends, your family, everybody. More people who have access to Black's Law Dictionary, the more people who have access to their freedoms and their rights, period. You can't do any of these things. You can't get your rights back without a Black's Law Dictionary. Black's Law 4th edition. Black's Law 4th edition, in my opinion, is the difference between a slave and a man or a woman, a human, in the eyes of the law. It can be overwhelming, yes. You just have to... There's no way around it. Life is overwhelming. Relationships are overwhelming. Children are overwhelming. Work is everything's kind of in a way sometimes can be overwhelming. This is no different. So get your hands on the Black's Law 4th edition PDF. Put it on everything. Take a look at it. Never, ever, ever assume the definitions of words. And I'm getting back to long tangent. Getting back to the two main tips that I have. Right. The two main tips that I have are never ever assume the definition of anything, and I'm totally spacing out on the second one. Words, terms, and phrases. Let's get back to this. So term, this is the definition of term. That is the one that you should be thinking about. A word or group of words having a particular meaning, especially in a specific field. So terms, there's a lot of terms in law, right? You see all these Latin terms, right? Like just scrolling up, jus personarum, that's a term, right? So it's a word or group of words having a particular meaning, especially in a specific field. So all technical fields have terms, right? So words, and on the other hand, is a sound or combination of sounds or its representation in writing or printing that symbolizes and communicates a meaning and may consist of a single... Anyways, I don't want to get into all that. Jesus Christ. Let's go to this. Let's see. Word. A single unit of written or spoken language. Yeah. It's a series of symbols that have a meaning. That's the definition of word. I think the word a technically is a word. So it wouldn't be a series of, it could be a single symbol as well, technically speaking. That's what if I had to define the word, I would say a symbol or series of symbols that has a particular meaning. And again, the action of defining a word is to take it from an unlimited position and to bring it down to a clarified, delineated, limited position. So that is the actual conceptual idea of the word define, or the idea of a definition. So if you feel like you look at a series of symbols and it's just this like, it's everywhere, Now you're going to become the warrior of freedom, and you're going to say, you're going to paint your face, and you're going to have a spear in your hand, and you're going to say freedom. And the route to freedom is to take something that seems limitless and sort of you can't really locate it. That's the kind of like the feeling of an undefined word in someone's universe, right? And you're going to grab that fucking cocksucker by the throat, and you're going to yank that fucker down, and you're going to clarify it and limit the meaning of it by researching and looking through the different definitions and stuff like that. When you think of it that way, it can be kind of fun and engaging because you're like, I'm a warrior. It's freedom. It's freedom from myself. It's freedom from my family. That the action of becoming a state national is not anywhere near as important as the mental and emotional state of mind of someone who is constantly questioning words, terms, and definitions and phrases, and in a fun, engaging way, they are constantly searching and taking these limitless symbols, and they're bringing them down into a specific limited definition, especially one that can be easily communicated to others in an effort to spread and help them comprehend all of these different things. That's like the big philosophical idea behind all of this. And I know it seems silly and really, really simple, but I think it's not that simple. It took me 10 years to sort all that out and to really understand what it is that I'm doing with all of this and this kind of thing. So again, this is all an explanation of how someone like me could understand all of this so rapidly. 8 months, right? It's the understanding of trust law, the trustee beneficiary relationship. It's understanding the definition of word, the definition of phrase, the definition of term. And then it's understanding conceptually the activity of defining words and the enjoyment in the defining of words. So, for example, one of the things that we're taught as Scientologists is to clear up the derivation of the word, right? So, here's my favorite derivation dictionary. This is the online etymology dictionary. It's totally free. So let's say you type in the word soul, right? So you can see here the derivation is super long, right? I like that. So it goes from, generally speaking, it goes from the oldest derivation and then it's a timeline up to the newest derivation. I don't have Etymology Explorer app. I don't have my phone plugged into this thing that I'm doing these videos on. But this app right here, oh, dude, holy fuck. They have these trees, and you can go like back to like when it was Latin or French, and you can click on that, and it opens up the thing, and it shows you everything that it meant at that time period, and it breaks the word down into the different sections of the word. Oh my God, like Explorer, it'll go like Explorer, and then it'll break off and say EX and then Plorer, and then it'll give you the two like derivational definitions of what each of those sections of the word meant. Oh my God, bro. If you want to go that deep on this and you want to really start breaking every single little section down, and you want to start breaking down all the sections of the words, and really if you want to go that hard, which is an optional thing, that just means that much more freedom. So your freedom is exactly and directly attached to how far you take your warrior behavior and your warrior aspect of breaking down and fully understanding the definitions and sections of words and the derivations of words. So It's sort of optional if you want to do kind of like more of a surface understanding of the words for a little while. That's okay. But eventually, I think you'll wind up where I'm at, where you'll get lost in words, and it's like being lost in heaven. I don't know really what to tell you because you'll be searching through the derivation of a word or the definition of a word or the definition of a section of a word, and you'll come up against something and it will just completely change your life. It happens to me all the time. I mean, like every fucking day. So, like here's the derivation of the word soul. A substantial entity believed to be that in each person which lives, feels, thinks, and wills. This comes from probably an old dictionary, century dictionary. It comes from Old English, soul. This is the word from Old English, and that word meant spiritual and emotional part of a person. Animate existence. Animate existence, bro. Animate existence. Like, how fucking dope is that? I mean, like, I'm getting chills in my body just reading this. Life, living being, but animate existence, bro. Animate existence. Everyone wants to make you a slave. Everyone wants to make you a piece of wood. Everyone wants to make you a U.S. citizen, a franchise. And these definitions of these words and the things that I'm teaching you animate your existence. I mean, look at this. This can be confused into commerce law and the jurisdiction of the sea. Look at this. Sometimes said to mean originally coming from or belonging to the sea. Ooh, that's interesting. I'll bet you that ties into fucking the sea jurisdiction somehow. Because that was supposed to be the stopping place of the soul before birth or after death, coming from Barnhart. If that's true, it would come from Proto-Germanic, the word sewaz, which means from the lake, as a dwelling place of souls in ancient Northern Europe. I mean, dude, you could write a whole script on just that for a movie or for a TV show, or you could write like an epic fucking song. I mean, dude, like I'm literally getting chills just reading this. Like I've never read this before. Meaning spirit of a deceased person is attested from Old English from 971. That's the year. It's a long ass time ago. As a synonym for person, individual, human being, as in every living soul. Now that's been obviously fucked up now because person means everything under the sun, moon, and stars. They're trying to deliberately get you away from using that term meaning soul, right? They're trying to destroy the soul. So by defining words and searching through words and definitions, you're literally, by definition, animating your existence and relocating and finding your soul. I mean, how fucking cool is that? How fucking insanely mind-blowing is that? So, I mean, I could talk about this, what we're talking about right now, for forever. And just, I'd start crying, literally. Like, it's so intense and it's so powerful. And it's so spiritual and it's so artistic. Like people think of like words, you know, dude, no. I am a musician. I am a writer of books. I used to scream in a metal band. I used to play guitar. I used to teach music theory. I used to play drums. I used to teach drums. Bro, I can tear up a fucking a guitar like you wouldn't believe. I can tear up a fucking keyboard, kind of. I can play drums. I can sing fairly well. I can scream like a fucking beast, like crazy. I'll tell you right now, man. This shit is spirituality. Words, phrases, and definitions, and going through all this. This is not some nerdy scientific thing. This is the essence of freedom, and it's the essence of spirituality. I mean, words are music. The lyrics, what do they mean? Words are stories. Stories are communicated through words. The understanding of words and phrases will turn you into such a tremendous artist. Such a tremendous artist. So without me communicating and trying to share my love for words and definitions, that is how you're going to access the same power or intelligence that you may think I have that you don't have. And the truth is that you do have it. And as soon as you as soon as you become curious enough and you see the picture and you see what it means for yourself and the people that you love, like your children, fuck's sake, your children, your interest and desire and curiosity of words, phrases, and definitions directly translate to what kind of life that your children are going to have. And again, I'm not a parent. I'm not a father that I know of. I'm just kidding. So I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but I'm telling you, I promise you, this is the breaking point between you and everyone around you living a life of shackles and you and everyone around you living an amazing life of freedom. I promise you. I promise. So that's a complete side note that I wasn't even intending to get into, and we're already pretty heavily into this video. So let's continue. So point number 17, in contract law, the only way that someone can force reciprocation of a contract is if you've already accepted and consented to benefits. So when you get the driver's license, for example, they're saying, oh, you have this, privileged thing that we're giving you. When it comes to all of this, let's actually look at the word enfranchisement. Okay, so I have that word down here. So let's just go. So for example, you have accepted the benefit of Social Security. You are now obligated to reciprocate. You are contracted. The main benefit that ties you into being a U.S. citizen is actually the right to vote, which I've talked about before. Now, it gets a bit more complex than that. It's not tied to the right to vote. Technically, it's tied to the right to register to vote. We've already gone over that. This is called enfranchisement. Okay, so we're going to look at this definition right here. We have the word enfranchisement, right? Now, if you break down the different sections of the term enfranchisement, it probably means, like, theoretically, the word itself probably means to turn into or to make into a franchise, which we've talked about before at the beginning of the course, right? So the act of making free, giving a franchise or freedom to, investiture with privileges or capacities of freedom, or municipal or political liberty, admission to the freedom of a city, admission to political rights, and particularly the right of suffrage, which I believe that word means the right to vote, right? And that's literally how they trick you into enfranchisement, right? And again, I know there's a lot of right-leaning conservative people that really take their right to vote very, very seriously. Yeah, suffrage is the right to vote in political elections. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble for all my right-leaning friends, but that's the way it is, particularly the right of suffrage, right? Anciently, the acquisition of freedom by a feline from his lord, right? I don't know what that means. You can look that up. I don't want to get into that. So here's the second section. Look at this. The word is now principally either of the manumission of slaves. So I don't know what that. We're going to look that up right now. Manumission. This is page 698. This one I can probably find. Manumission. I was way... Oh, bam! Check it out. The act... Oh, God, this is fucking rough. The act of liberating a slave from bondage and giving him freedom. In a wider sense, releasing or delivering one person from the power or control of another. Are you fucking kidding me? Manumission is the word. Let's go over it again. This is fucking mind-blowing. The act of liberating a slave from bondage and giving him freedom. In a wider sense, releasing or delivering one person from the power or control of another. Dude, you got to be fucking... Bro, we are definitely looking up the derivation of this word. Manumission. Fuck, this is intense. Liberation from slavery, bondage, or restraint comes from the 1400. Bro, look at this. Christ's redemption of mankind. Bro, like I'm literally like about to tear up on this shit. Freedom from feudal servitude. Freedom, emancipation. Freeing of a slave. To set free. Release from control. From manu. Power of a master. Literally hand. And then man equals hand. Metir means to let go, which is remission. So to let go or release from the power of a master. Manu, power of a master. Mission, let go or release. Specifically in relation to Negro slavery in British colonies by the 1660s. Holy fuck my ass. So let's go back to 698. Enfranchisement. Okay. Fuck my ass. Okay. The word is now used principally either of the manumission of slaves, of giving to a borough or other constituency a right to return a member or members to parliament, or of the conversion of copyright into freehold. So it's the freeing of slaves. It's the act of giving someone municipal or political liberty because they're fucking slaves. That's what the word enfranchisement means. So when they give you your right, what they're doing is they're saying, I'm offering you a benefit that you already had. So that's the trick. But in exchange, now you're my slave because you've accepted the benefits and you've contracted into the benefits, because anyone can contract into anything they want. They're trying to trick you into contracting into something where they're giving you a quote-unquote benefit. Now, here's an interesting thing. In order for something to be considered a benefit, both parties have to consider it a benefit. So you have to consider it a benefit, and they have to consider it a benefit. So the funny thing is that the day that you wake the fuck up and you realize that your driver's license and all this shit is not a benefit, and actually it's something horrible, it breaks the trust, because the trust is a trustee-beneficiary relationship. As long as you believe and think that you're being benefited by the trustee, there's a trust. The day you wake up and you go, wait a second, the driver's license, and marriage license, and all these things, and the concealed carry permit, these are all actually slave contracts. These aren't benefits at all. You basically, legally, in that moment, you are now free. That's the way it works. Because in that moment, you say, oh my God, I'm not the beneficiary. Oh my God, I don't want to contract to this anymore. Oh my God, that's it. Contract's done. The moment you wake up and you decide that, you're free. You're completely fucking free. Everything else that I'm teaching you in this course is pretty much like the administrative aspects to now let them know that you're done and you're breaking the contract. Okay? So I hope this isn't too much. So that's called enfranchisement. Enfranchisement is they give you they put the cookie out there, and as soon as you take it and eat it, you're now a slave. You're fucked. So learning how to avoid and spot enfranchisement and avoid it, or kill contracts that are enfranchisement, that is the whole point of this entire course. Okay, so basically what they're doing is they're giving you the benefit of voting for a president that is not really the actual government president, but it's a president of a private company that is acting as though it's the real government, which we've gone over already. As far as I can tell, the first time the use of enfranchisement, contracting people under fraud to take away their rights, was in the Reform Act of 1867. Avoiding and eliminating enfranchisement, that's what allows you to disconnect as a tacit U.S. citizen, which means that you revoke voter registration. But by law, I have read that you can still just show up on vote day and vote without registering. I think it's the registering to vote that actually is the trap that pulls you into the U.S. citizen designation. Yeah, we've already gone over that. Remember, register is a bad word. Whenever you hear that, a million alarms should be going on in your head, and you need to start asking a lot of questions. Once you stop consenting and actively negate and cut ties with all benefits offered by the government, your obligation to contribute is also eliminated. So people are always like, oh, you can't disconnect from the government, blah, blah, blah. You can, but the only way you can do it is you have to cut off all of the benefits that you're receiving. Because once you cut off all of the benefits that you're receiving, which none of them are actually benefits at all, once you cut off all these false benefits, that kills the contract, and now they can't request anything anymore. They can't ask you anything. They can't ask you questions. They can't do anything. So that is the whole point of everything I'm trying to teach you in this course, okay? So this is how you lawfully and legally disconnect from the government, okay? If a living person has no contract or tacit agreement with benefits, they have no obligation to live on the land of God, okay? Who has the right to say they own the land of God? Who has the right to say that you cannot move or travel due to their so-called possession of some road or byway? Would a normal, sane, friendly, supporting human act that way toward their fellow man? No. This is the behavior and acts of evil men with no self-esteem and deserves you pay them no mind. Yes, there is such a thing as ownership, but ownership is a contract with God, and if you violate his trust, then your contract is null and void instantly. There is a legal word called inducement, which means misrepresentation that leads a person to enter into a contract or transaction with false understanding of the risks and obligations. Okay? That is inducement. You're getting sucked into inducement literally all the time, constantly, like almost every day. Every single time you sign almost anything, sadly, you're getting tricked into some kind of inducement. And let's see, there's something else on that. Might be on my public notice page. Let's see here. Let's see here. This is I mean, these are some really interesting quotes that you can see on my public notice page. I mean, let's see. Inducement. We're talking about inducement. You know, there was something. Here we go. Brady versus United States. Very beautiful case law, by the way. Waivers of constitutional rights must be voluntary and knowingly intelligent acts done with sufficient awareness of the relevant circumstances and likely consequences. Obviously, every single fucking contract under the sun, moon, and stars that we're talking about in this course, practically every single thing in your entire life that you're contracted into did not fit this case law point. Now, we're not going to get into all the different aspects of a contract until way, way later in the course, because it's just a lot. And one of the points of a contract that has to be there in order for a contract to be there is that all of the terms and ideas of what's really going on in the contract have to be completely transparent. And if they're not, then the contract is considered null and void since the contract's inception. So not from that point, but it's retroactive all the way back to the beginning of when the contract was signed or put into play. So it actually, whenever you clean up any of these things or realize any of these things, instantaneously, like for example with taxes, as soon as you understand all this stuff and you wake up to it, boom, it's now fraud all the way back to the inception, which is probably when you were 18 and took your first job and signed your first W-9 form. So it's not, it's actually a maxim of law that fraud vitiates everything. God knows of fraud instantly, and thus all fraud, no matter how well hidden, when it involves a piece of his land, means all contracts are instantly voided from their inception once fraud has been entered into the equation. So fraud burns the whole thing down all the way back to the very, very beginning. So if you signed a contract 50 years ago, technically even the birth certificate and the social security card, everything fits this. So, and the beauty of fraud is that fraud has no statute of limitations. So all this fraud and all this stuff that you see in the world right now, there will be a point of prosecution on all of this, and this fraud's been going on for hundreds of years. They can still burn for all this fraud that's been going on for hundreds of years. There is no statute of limitations at all whatsoever. So very, very interesting. Again, I'm not really looking for people to burn. I know all this stuff is really horrible that's going on in the world with all of this legal stuff and everything else. But like I said before, I'm just like, whatever. We need to just put the trust back in, put the trustee beneficiary relationship back in, clean everything up, and just move on with our lives. Obviously, people who are doing this and who think this way should be stripped of their ability to be in positions of power or have money or decisions. But whatever, I think they should just be removed from society and rehabilitated in some kind of a separate sector of the world, and then once they've been fully rehabilitated, they can re-enter the human race. I think violence and as much as I love guns and everything like that, it's just not really what I'm trying to do at this course, or what I really think is the correct solution. So I know people aren't going to be on that same page with me, but that's okay. All I can do is just tell you what I think, and I don't think that allowing anger and revenge and frustration to poison your world, I just don't think it's worth it. The whole point of all this is that now you can calmly and quietly break free of all of this and help all of your friends and family break free. And if enough people focus mainly on the education and freeing of themselves and their family and their loved ones and their children, it sort of spreads out like this beautiful thing, and it can spread out to the whole country super fast. And we don't need to be in a fight or a battle with some foreign sandbox. It's like, just let them do whatever the fuck they want to do, and then we're going to do what we're going to do. But we're done with the contracts. Goodbye. So that's what I think is the correct thing to do. Yeah. So there you go. That's video number 17. I wasn't expecting to get into all of that philosophical stuff, but I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope it helps you in your search for freedom for yourself and your family. And I will see you in video number 18. Bye-bye.